In Minnesota, a murder suspect mistakenly released is captured after 2 weeks on the run. In Massachusetts, a man is arrested after wounding 5 police officers in a knife attack. And in Australia, police step up recruiting to lure officers from the UK. These stories and more coming at you today, Monday, October 2nd on Real Life Real Crime Daily, and I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. Happy Monday. Happy October.
Right?
Guys.
Wow, I want some cooler weather to come in October.
Yeah.
Bow season opened yesterday, and it was like 95 degrees.
Well, do you know October 2nd? You know what October 2nd is?
October 3rd was the day Courtney Coco got murdered.
Yeah, October 2nd, not quite as significant in your life, is National Name Your Car Day.
Really?
Yeah.
I always name my cars.
So you already have a name for your new truck?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the new truck's name?
White Lightning.
White
It's a good name, right?
What was the old truck's name?
Black Beauty.
Oh, I thought that truck was gray. So was it gray? It was black.
Well, I'm kind of colorblind, so.
Yeah.
Black
But it was definitely black.
We could probably
I just never washed it.
We could come up with some names for Jim's.
I have a name for my vehicle.
Okay, what?
The Yellow Anaconda.
It doesn't really shaped like an anaconda.
Every vehicle I've ever had, I always named it. But so I didn't know they had to have a name today.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that actually name their vehicles.
My kids usually were the ones who I had the Batmobile, but I don't know why it was the Batmobile, but they wanted to call it the Batmobile.
Had the Black Raven, the gray shit.
It's also National Custodial Worker Recognition Day.
Shout out.
So I think you need to thank some people today.
Yes, I do. Shout out to all the people who get it done, cleaning and doing all that, and shout out to the new lady who cleaned my country place, and we really appreciate you. Now, y'all, let's get into some crime time for Monday.
That's right. A murder suspect mistakenly released from an Indiana jail earlier this month was captured in Minnesota after 2 weeks on the run this past Wednesday. Kevin Mason, 28, was apprehended in St. Paul around 2 p.m. by the United States Marshal Service. He had been released due to a clerical error.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Mason was released by mistake from the adult detention center in Indianapolis September 13th, days after his arrest on suspicion of a 2021 killing of a man in Minnesota. He was arrested on 3 separate warrants from Minnesota. An inmate records clerk at the detention center cleared 2 of the holds by mistake, and authorities in Minnesota received the last hold, not realizing the other 2 had been lifted. 2 Marion County Sheriff's Office employees have been terminated over that incident.
I figured that was coming.
Yeah, somebody's getting fired. Right. Authorities found out about his release within hours, but intentionally withheld the information from the public for 6 days in an effort to keep a tactical advantage. During the manhunt, Mason received assistance from Desiree Oliver, 29, a nurse who was subsequently arrested on 1 count of assisting a criminal. Oliver is believed to be Mason's girlfriend. According to the sheriff, she picked him up in her car and drove him to get a cell phone and clothes. She has not cooperated. We arrested her today at 2 o'clock, that from the Marion County Sheriff. So, what would a tactical advantage be to not letting people know a murderer has been on the loose for 6 days?
The tactical advantage is you have no acute political emergency in the room now. They were, I promise you, they were trying to catch them with, in 6 hours, much less 6 days.
Yeah, that was a CYA thing.
In there going, what the?
Yeah,
and riding their ass the whole time. Yeah, that's called. Shit rolls downhill. We're going to have those people fired and this guy back in custody before we tell you anything.
The scary thing about that whole situation is what if somebody would have got killed while he was on the run in those first 6 days?
Why not use the people, put out the description? They'd have called him a lot faster. So they're very lucky he didn't kill somebody else, because if he had and they hadn't alerted the public, they might have opened themselves up to a lawsuit.
No doubt.
Craziness, right? And then, that part of the country is so beautiful up there. And like I was looking in Toma, Wisconsin's weather yesterday, and it was in the 50s. It's beautiful too. It's not.
Yeah, look at it in February.
It's beautiful to you. Yeah, I told you my buddies up there, their problem is in February or even January is when they go ice fishing, they have to keep their beer from busting because it's that cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
No ice problem to have.
No ice chest needed, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Massachusetts, where 5 officers at a Massachusetts police department, including the chief, are wounded after a 15-minute incident with a knife-wielding man Tuesday evening. Taunton police said the altercation began at around 6:45 p.m. Tuesday as officers were conducting a traffic stop on a motorist accused of a moving violation. While working with the driver, who was cooperative, an unrelated driver, pulled up next to the officers and began shouting at them. The driver, who has only been identified as an adult male known to police, then sped off in a 2010 gray Honda Accord. Taunton police said officers did not pursue him at that time. Shortly thereafter, another Taunton officer patrolling the area saw that same driver operating a Honda in an unsafe and reckless manner and attempted to pull him over. The driver fled again, nearly hitting an officer who was approaching his car during the stop. This prompted a brief police chase under the control of a supervisor who was monitoring the situation. The vehicle pursuit ended when the suspect crashed the car into an entryway at a multifamily residence and ran inside. The residence was later determined to be his home. Officers followed the suspect into the building where he pulled out a knife and started waving it at them, slashing 2 officers in the process. Taunton Police Chief Edward Walsh, who responded to the scene from his nearby home, was also wounded during the altercation after the suspect swung the knife at him and stabbed him in the torso. Walsh was able to deploy his taser on the suspect, resulting in the apprehension at around 7 p.m., approximately 15 minutes after initial altercation on the side of the road, according to the police department. Now, I have a problem with this. You already know what I'm saying. You're going to cut one of my officers, much less a couple of my officers, and, the police chief himself. That dude, you waving that actually is called 21-foot rule on the use of force continuum. If someone's has a knife and they come within 21 feet of you, you give them orders to put it down. They don't do it. You can shoot them, right? How do you get
and even after
way inside?
Even
21?
After all that stabbing, they tase them instead of shooting.
Yeah. Well, so you know what? That must have been related to one of them or something because I'd have smoked them like a pack of cools.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to cut my people because whatever reason, I don't get that. But, I really don't get it. You'll never make me understand that. So.
I don't know. I'm wondering if they were if the chief comes over, he's unaware that anybody's been stabbed inside. He comes inside, he immediately gets cops kept coming in that weren't aware of what had preceded them.
The other ones are cut. Do you back out at that time? If you cut me, if you're lucky enough to cut me, so the last stage on the firing line on the post certification course is from the 2.5 yard line. So it's close quarter combat, and you don't even you draw as fast as you can, take a half step back to create separation, and you fire, pow, pow. And you have to do that 3 times in a row. You're trained for that. If you, fuck that, officer safety, that dude shouldn't have pulled a knife. Period.
Is there a chance in that town that they don't carry? There's no chance of that, right?
No way. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe they never dealt with it before, but police officers have weapons for a reason. Now, I'm not saying there's not a lot of bad shootings, but in this case, 3 officers get slashed. Fuck that. So,
wow. Well, I think that's a good lead into to this story. We talk quite often about different cities in the country and how far down they are versus the number of cops they're supposed to have, and the difficulty in recruiting cops in the United States, but I didn't really think this extended internationally, and I came across this story that blew me away in terms of the aggressiveness, and it involves Australia and how aggressively they are recruiting cops from around the world to come to Australia, specifically how hard they're recruiting cops from the UK to come. So,
hey, real quick, Jim, give me an Australian.
Good eye, mate.
All right.
Authorities down under have launched an aggressive campaign to recruit officers over from the UK. This has been going on for some time, but yesterday the Aussies took things to another level with this promise, quote, "We won't put you through hell if you shoot someone."
Really?
End of quote. The message resonated clearly yesterday as the story of a UK policeman charged with the murder of a man named Chris Kaba dominates the daily headlines in Britain. Western Australia is pursuing an audacious bid to steal hundreds of police officers by luring them from Britain to work in the sunshine. More than 1,400 officers have applied to make the move after a huge recruitment drive that was launched back in February. The pitch video promotes the areas. It's unbelievable. You look at this pitch video, and it is like a real estate pitch to move to a certain area. Yeah. It is about the wineries and the coral reefs and the culinary scene and all of that sort of stuff. You would never guess.
I didn't have family here. I'd go myself.
Well, so the first cohort, so the very first group they hired was a group of 23 that were sworn in this week in a ceremony in Perth, Australia. And the message from the Aussie police chief was pretty clear. It's, we protect our officers. And he goes on to tell the story of a shooting that had occurred. And literally in a matter of hours, they had declared it a good shooting. And once they do that, they cannot revisit it. Okay, so they go on to tell the stories of a couple of these cops that have come over from the UK. One of them, his name is Anna Miller. She's 38 years old. She was recruited from West Yorkshire. She said moving to Australia has made her feel supported and appreciated. Speaking from Perth, where she moved, she said, the biggest thing we like here is the appreciation for the police. I did not feel at all appreciated. And in Australia, the community supports their cops and trusts them. Ben Woods is a 33-year-old sergeant who was part of the Sussex police over in the UK, who came over, and he said, my colleagues in the UK were naturally sad to see me go, but are now sick of my social media posts. Can you stop posting beautiful beaches and posting beautiful views with koalas, et cetera, et cetera? He said, Perth is one of the cleanest, tidiest cities I've ever been to. The sunrises and sunsets are phenomenal. The crime rates are clearly lower. There's no graffiti, no gangs of kids. It feels like a nice, safe place to be. All police officers in Western Australia are armed, meaning most of these UK recruits will be using and be trained in firearms for the first time. Most of these cops in UK can't carry, don't carry a weapon. And Miller said, I don't have a strong feeling. It's just a piece of the kit that officers have. I'll learn how to use it appropriately. And the police minister said, we protect our officers. They've got tasers, they've got Glocks, they've got body armor, and amazingly, they've gone a tremendously long period of time without losing an officer on the job. Really
interesting. Perth, Australia. One of my dream team moderators, shout out to Shauna VL, I've been an OG lifer since week one of our dropped David and Christina Constance episode, and we have a huge amount of fans there. And I mean, shit, I'd love to live there.
Perth, home of the Perth Mint. Yeah. The Australian kangaroo is the silver dollar for Australia.
Sweet. I want to go gold mining and opal mining and diving.
Well, the amazing thing about that part, because Sydney is a pretty expensive place to live, but Perth is, compared to the UK, these cops are getting higher wages. The cost of living is much, much lower, and they've got a great climate year round. I mean, it's a great sale to these guys, and they get a Glock.
Right, nice.
I wonder what the gun laws are over there for the. I don't know what they. I know in the UK there's no.
I have another lifer, and I think I've told you this before, that I had another lifer sent me a picture of two his 2 pistols that he owns, and he said is a motherfucker. They had the process and everything else, and that's when we do these Australian stories that involve guns. That's when they say when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. I mean, a lot keeps an honest man honest.
Well, also you see in both UK and Aussie a lot more murders with knives.
Yeah. I mean, that's same thing.
They're going to find a weapon
people running
that
through
works.
crowds, slashing people and whatever. If you want to do it, you're going to do it, right? Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Hey, y'all. Changing my wardrobe from summer to fall, it's never easy. Luckily, Quince offers timeless and high-quality items I adore, ensuring my wardrobe stays fresh and I don't blow my budget. And there's nothing easier than going to Quince and choosing these high-quality items, like cashmere sweaters from $50, pants for every occasion, washable silk tops, and so much more. The best part? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, and I love that. I got the stainless steel Link Apple Watch band for $59.90. It's heavy duty, it's awesome, and it's like $100 less than I could find anywhere else. And I also got a 100% organic cotton fisherman quarter zip up sweater. The color is alabaster. Man, I can't wait to wear that this fall. And Cindy got the Mongolian cashmere boat neck sweater in heather gray. And I'm telling you, these are classic pieces at a fraction of the price. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/RLRC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/RLRC to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/RLRC. You'll thank me later.
Correct. A Georgia man was arrested after being accused of keying a woman's car with a pocket knife because she was parked in a handicap space. James Michael Fay, 61, thought Sarita Mack illegally parked in a spot at a Walmart in Beaufort, Georgia last weekend and used the weapon to scratch her car. Both of her children were in the vehicle at the time, and one started filming him. Mack, who recently underwent back surgery, had her handicap sign up as she visited the store, but it was not wholly hanging on the dashboard. Footage posted on Mack's Facebook page showed the suspect near the vehicle, and one of her daughters could be heard saying that he marked it. I don't know who that is, but he just pulled out a knife and walked around the car. He was looking in the windows, the child said. In another video, Mack approached Faye inside the store. You wanted to park in a handicap spot with no tags, he said. Yes, I do have a tag, she said. The two had a back and forth about the situation when Mac told him he was caught on video. She also said she had reported him to police, but he doubled down that she didn't have handicap tags. Well, let's walk out there together so you can see, so I can embarrass you, she said. I don't know what gives you the right to damage my vehicle. So Mac continued to trail Faye in the store while he checked out at the cash register before the video cut off. She recorded another video when officers arrived and questioned Faye. I was just trying to make sure that people were following the rules, Faye said, speaking to police in the parking lot. So scratching the car is following the rules, the officer replied sharply. Mac explained to one of the officers that her daughter frantically called her while she was shopping. Her daughter quickly sent her the video, which is how she identified him inside the store. Faye was charged with criminal trespass damage, which is a misdemeanor. People need to mind the business that pays them. Well, that's a great quote.
Right.
Mind the business that pays you, Max said. If you feel like someone is doing something illegal, call the police. You don't have to step in and be a vigilante because you can end up being a perp instead.
Yeah, well, I blame Carrie Underwood for all this shit.
I don't know anything bad about her.
Well, you don't remember that song?
I just,
his pretty little four-wheel drive, slashed a hole in all four tires, all that stuff.
I used to carry Underwood. I saw legs.
You saw Sunday Night Football starting instead of.
Dude, you know, this is her 11th year doing this year.
Do you know she gets $1 million
per boy?
Why are we talking about
per
Carrie
Sunday?
Underwood?
I don't know.
Because she sang that song, which glorified putting.
That was about cheating.
Putting a key. Well, but it was about the shit you did to the guy.
Yeah, she keyed his car because he was cheating.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
cut his tires.
Back to I have a story on this. That it's kind of a pet peeve of mine when people do that. I'm sure the lady had her tag, but I got called to a scene like this when I was in uniform patrol, and this guy was really pissed off, and it blocked the person in. It had one of the cement things in front of it, and till I got there, and he was like, he's parked in a handicap, and it's not a handicap, and this guy was in a wheelchair, and I said. Went up and the guy's like, yeah, I parked here and I don't have a tag. I'm saying, you know what? I don't write tickets, but I'm writing your ass one. And the guy told him in the wheelchair, he said, dude, give me your legs and I'll gladly give you my handicap tag. So don't be an asshole and park a handicap park spot.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. But this is an example where the lady was legit parking. And the problem here is
needs to go get a badge.
This male version of a Karen decided he was going to call her out on it when it's not his job.
Right.
And he ended up in jail over it.
Yeah, well, and
at least they didn't take him to jail, but they wrote him a ticket for it. It's going to cost him some money.
In what fucking world is
he was wrong.
In what world is it okay to key someone's car, period? I mean, call the cops.
Yeah.
Block them in and call the cops.
Well, he's going to pay to fix that car, too.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, y'all, let's go out to Florida. And thanks to Elizabeth Romanesco for sharing the next story. And as most of you are aware, I am the Real Life, Real Crime Daily official expert on otters, seals, walruses, beavers, and manatees. So this is
I think there was a protest filed on manatees. I'm not sure. But
Really?
So maybe we want to suspend that.
I think manatees are really cool.
They are really cool, but I don't know if you're sanctioned for manatees. But this is an otter story, not a manatee story?
Yep.
Okay,
so
proceed.
Let's see. This is a serious story. Florida resident Joseph Scaglione, 73, was feeding ducks in the backyard of his Jupiter, Florida home when he was jumped by an otter. Scaglione wasn't jumped. He was attacked and bitten more than 41 times across his body. The otter,
wow, that's a hungry otter.
The first thing you're asked, is the otter rabbit? Yes, the otter tested positive for rabies. And Scaglione was punctured more than 36 times on his arms, legs, and hands before he was eventually able to shake off the rabid otter. Shortly after the otter attacked a dog that was being walked by its owner in the neighborhood. It's unclear the extent of the dog's injuries, Miss Jerry, so we don't have that for you. My pinky is the worst. I have 2 puncture wounds. I'm not sure if it's going right through or whatever. One is on the corner of where the cuticle was, Scaglione said. Neighborhood residents were eventually able to trap the crazed mammal An otter's a mammal?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. The animal was later. I should have known that as being the expert, right? The otter was later euthanized.
Boom, Jim.
No, you don't have to boom it. But according to the Florida Department of Health, in an interview with local outlets, Scaglione detailed the scary incident. He said, "I normally go out and feed the ducks in the back. While he was out back on September 20th, he noticed something amiss. The first red flag came when he saw birds who were gathered outside around the gate in his backyard take off quickly. Looked up, no hawk. Looked back down, and there was a brown head sticking up over the bank pond," the elderly Florida man said. He initially, good Lord, man, I was looking at these pictures. He initially didn't know what type of animal it was, but then he realized and immediately reacted by trying to back away slowly. As he began to move away, he lifted his hand to close the gate, and the otter pounced. We'll post a picture of his hand with some of these puncture wounds. Officials said it's the first attack of its kind in more than 12 years. And rabies is highly contagious and extremely dangerous. And according to the World Health Organization, once symptoms of rabies appear, the disease is 100% fatal. And Scaglione was treated for rabies and is in good condition. It used to be, and now and close your ears, Miss Jerry, I got attacked by a dog when I was on duty one night, and I had to shoot. I almost shot myself in the foot, and it ended up being rabbit.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
It ended up being rabbit. But if you, back then, and of course it was 20 years ago, if you got bit, you got the treatment was worse than the bite. You had to get all these shots in your stomach with the big-ass long needle, like 8 different shots.
Dang.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, you must completely. It's an otter. The last thing in the world you expect to attack you.
Right.
And this thing is 41 times.
41 times.
And look at those punctures. I mean,
hey, I'm not making fun of Miss Scaglione, but I sure wish I could see that video. Like,
he had to think he was going to die. I mean, this is the way I'm going to go with an otter.
The otter got him 41 licks. Scaglione got in evidently at least one to knock him off, and then he got a dog.
Well, he must have. When he got him off, he must have hit him hard enough that the otter had enough. But
one good punch. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. Otters beware.
I don't know what to say about otters. Well, it's the fall.
Not temperature wise, it's not, but it is the fall.
It's the fall.
The second day of both seasons.
It's fall in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I bet it is.
The leaves
still feels like summer.
The leaves are beginning to turn.
Yes, indeed.
The Brazilian murderer's been captured.
Yes, he has.
The Phillies are headed back to the playoffs.
Don't know about that.
The undefeated Eagles seem poised to head back to the Super Bowl.
I do know about that.
Life just couldn't get any better than it is right now for people in Pennsylvania. But apparently all of that positivity just doesn't sit well with some of Philly's youth. So they went out on Tuesday night. A group of 100 young looters created havoc in Philadelphia on Tuesday night. The unruly crowd outnumbered responding officers as they went from store to store in Center City, lifting merchandise and stuffing it in large plastic bags. This all caught on camera by CBS Philadelphia. The shoppers hit a Foot Locker. They hit an Apple store. They hit a Lululemon in Rittenhouse Square, where they also assaulted a security guard. Over 50 people were arrested, although I believe all of them were released back and out by the middle of the day Wednesday. This all came on the same day that charges were dismissed against an officer in a controversial shooting that took the life of a young Philly man this summer. Numerous demonstrations were going on around the city, but police were quick to say that the looting and that was taking place had no connection to the demonstrations held earlier that day. I don't know. We got a video that we will post of the incident, but here we go. Now we're in Philly with this. We've seen what's gone on in San Francisco, Oakland. We've seen all the smash and grabs in Los Angeles. These stores were completely emptied.
Yeah,
they emptied an Apple store. They emptied this Lululemon, and they completely emptied the third store that they hit as well.
Craziness. I mean, they can't say that it wasn't related to. Maybe people were gathering for to protest, and these kids just took it and used it as a reason to act stupid.
And I don't know why it was important for the police to try to separate them. I don't know what the message there.
I wish I would see one of my kids, even though they're adults now, except for one, busting into an Apple store or something, and one of these young people things they do. I beat that ass. Then I'd turn them in.
Yeah, it's I don't want to sound like an old guy, but what's going on with these young people?
I don't know,
It's like. And this is how a lot of them are reacting to anything is to let's bust in a store.
Right.
Let's
tear some shit up.
It's crazy. A prolific bike thief was finally caught after a frustrated mother of one of his victims tracked him down and protested outside his house for 3 days with a "Where's my bike, Dave?" sign. David Sager, 49, stole 8 bicycles in a summer-long spree last year, sparking the sit-in protest by Fiona Bateman. It came after she spotted him steal her son's mountain bike from a carport on her neighbor's security system. Miss Bateman reported the crime to police, but believed that not much was happening, so she decided to take matters in her own hands. Sager was repeatedly identified with the help of social media, helping the mother to find out where he lived. Miss Bateman then sat outside his house over the course of 3 days with a sign and was cheered on by social media users. Following pressure from the protests, Sager was convicted or was arrested on Friday, September 15th. He was set to be sentenced. Following the sentencing, Miss Bateman said she was disappointed. Sager will likely avoid a prison term. She said it's just frustrating that he will likely get a slap on the wrist. Where are the bikes? How about buying my son a new bike? We can't afford the $500, $600, $700 bike to replace it. He stole, so my son has to now walk. But that's okay, just as long as Dave doesn't feel aggravated. He was said to have used bolt cutters to slice his way through locks in order to get away with stealing these bicycles, which ranged in value from a few $100s to an e-bike actually worth more than $2,000. One victim was said to have returned home from returned from a doctor's appointment where he locked his bike outside of the office to find it obviously missing with the lock cut. The defendant was said to have come across as uninterested when police were interviewing him about this, as you could possibly be. And this mother, she did get her bike back.
She's like, mother.
She did.
Kind of took the law into her own hands.
She's the mama bear, the award of the year. Right?
Yeah, and just sat outside with a "Where's my bike,
That's
Dave?"
Funny. That made the police ultimately have to do their jobs because, I can honestly tell you, people say,
well, when
my
social
bike
media got
stolen,
involved and
I had better shit to do. But you're right.
Yeah.
It turned into an ape for them. Well, from a bike story to an absolutely horror story, Miss Jerry put the ear muscle on or just leave the house and don't listen to this shit. And to whoever it was that said I laughed about puppies being boiled, I did not, and I won't be laughing in this episode, this story either. An Arizona woman who ran an animal rescue home was arrested and charged with animal abuse and neglect after 55 dogs who had been poorly cared for were found in her home, including 5 dead puppies in a freezer. Right? The Chandler Police Department said officers arrested April McLaughlin, 48, on 55 counts of animal abuse and 55 counts of cruelty to animals after they conducted a search warrant at her home on September 23rd to check on the welfare of the dogs living there. Authorities said in the statement they were tipped off by a veterinary professional about the condition of 3 animals living at the woman's home, which prompted them to obtain a search warrant. Police, along with the members of the Arizona Humane Society, entered the home, and the AHS quickly removed and took custody of the dogs, many of which required immediate medical attention, according to the police. What the? It must have been one of those puppy mills.
55.
It's got to be a puppy mill. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they don't care about the breeding and anything else, and they just run it through. And so 55 and 5 puppies in the freezer, man.
Couldn't imagine.
Right? I don't get it.
And what do they do to that person?
They gonna get some time. Well, all right. I'll tell you what they did. Most of the 55 dogs removed from the home were elderly and had special needs and had obviously gone without water. Many would likely need to be euthanized, the police said. And when officers arrived at the residence, they countered a bad smell and requested a hazardous materials team. Right? Because it stunk so bad. Police also alleged that 5 dead puppies were found in the freezer, like I told you about. According to court documents, McLaughlin told police at the scene that she didn't see anything wrong with the storing food next to dead animals.
She didn't see anything.
Yeah.
She didn't see anything wrong with the dead animals.
Living with them. Yeah. McLaughlin ran an animal rescue out of her Chandler home, according to the reports. Neighbors had complained about smells coming from the home, and on September 9th, the Arizona Humane Society attempted to conduct a welfare check, but were allegedly denied access by McLaughlin. She's in jail on $2,500 cash deal, and we don't know what she's played out. I'm assuming
she looks crazy.
Guilty. Yeah, and we have her picture here, and she definitely looks crazy. And she's got trouble. She's in trouble.
Yeah, I'm glad you did the warning in the front of that.
It's a pretty bad story.
55 dogs would drive you crazy.
I mean, how
I
big
couldn't
is your
imagine
house, right?
55 freaking dogs, dude.
Bro.
That's crazy.
They're probably all in bad kennel, all in bad cages everywhere.
But dog food next to dead, animal
it's
food next to dead animals. Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
Well, it looks like maybe crime on the streets in San Francisco, Oakland area is, slowing down a little bit because they're running out of things to steal. They're running out of stores to rob.
Yeah, my buddies, I think I told you this other episode in San Francisco last week. They run electrical crews. They put the boxes in the ground, and he was supervisor, his son's supervisor. I mean, he owns the company, but the guy ran up and busted the thing and robbed him for his backpack and then chased around. He's like, "Give me your wallet." He's like, "Fuck you, you're not getting my wallet," and chased around the car until he ran off. But
spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of an LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser-cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill. And calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC. uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real-life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
Unbelievable. So now they're taking to the water.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to talk about some sea-bound bandits in San Francisco Bay. So burglars have been raiding yachts and houseboats in the Oakland Alameda estuary in a surge that one resident compared to the pirate movie Captain Phillips. They steal anything of value. They either sink the ships or dump the remnants of plundered boats miles away in the Oakland harbor or along its shoreline, said Dan Hill, who lives on his boat like many other families do in this 800-foot waterway. Each attack can cost the owner thousands to $10,000s of dollars, Hill said. Some in the tight-knit boating community have talked of arming themselves as jurisdiction question marks and eroding law enforcement staffing complicate the issue. It's probably the most popular boating area in San Francisco Bay, Hill said. The weather's great. It's a lovely little place. People love going to it. It's protected. It's beautiful. But since the summer, he and many other residents believe the homeless encampments in and around Oakland overtook the estuary and wreaked havoc in their daily lives. Quote, we're in this little lagoon area where the water comes in. There's a condo complex, beautiful parks. We started to see homeless people camping out there. That's never happened here before. That being said, these guys are finding old abandoned boats, stealing them, and anchoring out these illegal boats. And they're taking dinghies, small recreational boats, and riding around in the dinghies and stealing shit off of people's boats.
Yeah.
He'll describe the personal run-in that he had with some of the harbor bandits after he chased them across the harbor. Our friend confronted this guy because he looked super suspicious, and he called me and said, they're coming your way. We saw him come by, and I jumped in my dinghy with my wife, and we chased after him. He was much faster than us, so we eventually lost him, but turns out it was a boat stolen from the Alameda Community Sailing Center, which had 4 boats stolen from there. So the article went on and on about all of these thefts happening. There are, San Francisco may be the sailing capital of the United States. That bay gets great winds. There's tons of sailors out there all the time, marinas with beautiful boats, and it appears that that's sort of the next target in that area is to go.
If I was going to be a
boats.
criminal, I would definitely target yachts and shit because they got all the alcohol and maybe some drugs, like that doctor that had the cancer or whatever. Maybe you find you some cocaine, some booger sugar, and some strippers.
Well, and the marinas may very well be protected as people are driving into park and stuff. Yeah, but if you're coming by water in a dinghy,
you can't. How can you protect the marina from the water?
Right,
That's the whole access. The whole thing is you can leave and come whenever you want and could go out on the ocean.
They just keep finding new ways.
You can now take off that belt and move freely around the cabin.
It's a mile-high crime, and we're bringing you to Indiana, an Indiana man who was arrested after a breach in security at the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport on Sunday around 6:30 a.m. The airport said an individual breached the TSA security checkpoint during the screening process. The airport's public safety and airport operations departments were able to find the man on a Southwest Airlines flight to Chicago. The airport's public safety and airports operations departments were able to find the man on a Southwest Airlines flight to Chicago Midway as it was boarding. Louisville Airport Police arrested Michael Philip Van Bree, 60, of Greenville, Indiana, on a misdemeanor charge of carrying a concealed deadly weapon. So Van Bree was going through the TSA checkpoint when a gun was detected in one of his bags. Nice. A TSA agent said Van Bree then grabbed both of his bags from the belt and just kept walking. He walked into the secured gate area of the terminal. Because of the security breach, a ground stop was issued for all planes at the airport. He grabs his bags. He passed that point. Every plane in the airport at that point was grounded.
People lined up.
I bet they wanted to whip his ass. A review of security camera footage showed Van Bree actually boarded the Southwest flight. Airport officials removed all passengers from the aircraft, of course, and detained Van Bree without an incident. The weapon, a Smith & Wesson MP40, I have one of those, was found during the search of Van Bree's backpack. Officials said the rescreening of passengers is standard procedure anytime aircraft are removed from the plane.
It's a whole bunch of pissed off people.
Due to security, security reasons. And he was actually booked into the Louisville Metro Correction Center following his arrest, but has been released after posting a $10,000 cash bond. So he made it all the way to the boarding of the plane before they were able to stop him, which surprised me.
Yeah.
Saw it on
him, evidently. Yeah.
On the screen, and he just grabbed his bags and kept going. I guess they were yelling at him. So there you go. That's your mile-high crime.
They were yelling at him, and he had a firearm in there.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You can now take off that belt and move freely around the cabin.
Kinky crimes for
Kinky crimes.
And y'all, if there was an all-legend time for kinky crimes, this has to be, if not number one, close to it. I mean, this is just freaking crazy. So police have arrested a woman accused of drugging men in bars. Mm-hmm. Not that uncommon, right? You
it happens.
Slipping them a roofie.
It's usually the other way around.
Yeah,
but,
right. Slipping them a roofie or whatever.
Yeah.
And the suspect, Susan Crowder, was picked up after police reviewed footage from the bars following numerous complaints by men, right? Crowder is suspected of smearing sedatives on her nipples and in a few cases spiked their drinks in the bars and would rob them off after they fell unconscious.
Oh, my God.
Right? So get you a little titty in the car parking lot and can get knocked out. In August this year, an unidentified police lieutenant complained that a woman he had met in a bar had drugged him and stolen all his valuables when they were inside his vehicle. Right? The female superintendent who was recording the lieutenant's statement could not hold her laughter at the story. He was the fourth person she had taken a report from with the same complaint in just a month. The lieutenant's complaint, however, did lead to her arrest. We sat in my car, but I regained consciousness when I was alone and everything on me had been taken, he said. Right before I got knocked out, I had a mouthful of nipple. No, he said I was just putting that in. But in another complaint, she drove a man to a lodge where she robbed him of $3,000 in ATM cards. The victim told us that this suspect drugged him and then carried him into her car up to the lodge where she stripped and robbed him.
She carried him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a
Dang.
lie. But I mean, she stripped and robbed him after he paid for the room, maybe. He claims his $3,000 was stolen, ATM cards, etc., according to police. Now,
So she's spreading some
she
sedative
played
on
something. I don't know how.
How'd they catch her?
The lieutenant.
I mean, they all knew who she was. They got up close and intimate with her areolas.
Well, but she gave them her real name? I mean, how'd they find her?
Oh, the videos in the store. I guess somebody knew who she was.
Yeah.
That's how I would have worked it. But the very fact that they're saying she had drug-laced nipples. Woman arrested for robbing men after licking her drug-laced nipples is the title of it.
Somebody going to be rubbing Ambien on their nipples tonight.
Come here, boy.
I don't know how
Pretty good plan.
It doesn't knock her out unless maybe she puts like super glue as a base and then put the stuff on her nipples. It's probably
You must be sucking them nipples pretty good, though, to get knocked out on them. Good Lord.
No.
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
She turn around and just
That's
shoot
true.
a little bit on and say, come here, get this titty.
Kinky. Crazy. Good story.
It's fun.
Devious woman.
They'll suck nipples in the parking lot.
I don't think if I was that police lieutenant, I would have even told anybody.
He had to. I bet they had his gun and his wallet and everything.
Crazy.
I don't think we've ever had a dumb criminal from Scandinavia.
I don't think so. I bet they were blonde-headed.
We've got our first. Some heroes wear capes. Others have to stick to what they're already wearing when taking down the bad guys. And in this case, that's a bikini. A pickpocket in Sweden learned his lesson real quick when he tried to steal from a bikini-clad woman who also happened to be an off-duty police officer.
There you go.
Michaela Kellner was sunbathing with her friends in a park in Stockholm, and a random guy rolled up to sell them magazines for homeless people as part of his scam. Not listening to their repeated rejections, he hung around their blankets, and that's when Michaela sensed something was up with this guy. Quote, I told my friends to keep an eye on their things, but as soon as he left, one of my friends said, where did my mobile phone go? It turns out he used one of his magazines, put it over the phone to cover it, and then lifted the phone when he thought nobody was looking. The cunning plan might have worked if he were dealing with mere mortals. Kellner, with 11 years as a cop under her belt and possibly some acute spidey sense, took him down literally. There was no time, she said, so I ran after him, maybe 15 meters or so. It helped that one of her friends was also a police officer. We got a hold of him. He tried to get away, and we held on to him even harder. They threw him down to the ground and waited until on-duty authorities were able to arrive at the scene. A bystander was able to snap a photo of them on the ground, which I've got for Woody and Jim.
He'll post it
Not a
online.
great photo. But, I wouldn't mess with her. She looks pretty
He was
tough.
having a bad day.
She
evidently works out.
She looks pretty
legs.
tough. Next time, if there ever is a next time, this guy might want to stay away from the Amazon off-duty cops.
Right.
He took the worst of this.
Well, and let me Scandinavia. That's some bad people.
Yeah.
That's Vikings.
Right.
That's Vikings right there.
She had a little Viking in her.
They did two things. They fought and fucked. That's what Vikings do. Two things.
Okay, that's a solid ending.
So, very good. We'll post that picture online. She looks like you ain't gonna want to mess with her for sure. She'll beat your ass. It is this day in true crime history, and just got one quick one for you today. On October 2nd in 2006, a shooting occurred at the West Nickel Mine School, which was an Amish one-room schoolhouse in the Old Order Amish community of Nickel Mines, which is in Pennsylvania.
crazy.
So sadly,
It affects all communities. Huh?
yeah, it affects all communities. That's a great point. And October 2nd of 2006 that took place. So
17 years ago.
yeah, that's today in true crime history. All right.
All right, so here we are at the end of another show. I want to thank everybody for listening, liking, and sharing. Y'all, tomorrow I'm going to be concluding on the original Real Life, Real Crime, the death penalty series. So it's important if you listen to that, you've been listening to the series, how it gets wound up. But I don't know, boys. I actually want to go on the record and let y'all know that the fall is my favorite time of the year by far.
Yeah, mine too.
Summer being the second. I'm sorry. Winter being,
Fall and winter for me, man.
Summer and winter are almost a trade-off, but fall time is hunting, football, and good fishing and good cooking. And
Yeah.
it's
a great
cooler
time.
weather. And if we can skate out of the hurricanes, right?
Yeah, that's
About
right.
a month left of that.
Yeah. We do want to mention Bloody Angola's episode this week.
Yes. The
Fire.
Donald Duck Sharp.
Yes.
And he was a lieutenant then, but he ended up retiring as the chief criminal deputy for St. Tammany. And you got to listen to this. The best person we have ever interviewed, but guess what? It wasn't much of an interview because we didn't say two words.
I'm telling you.
I sat there with my mouth held open. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, we were like two kids
And I was
listening to Daddy tell a story.
And I was like, will you please come on original Real Life, Real Crime? But I actually known him since way back in the day. Some people can tell, either you can tell a story or you can't. And this guy has to be one of the best storytellers I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's really fire. He is the guy who got the confession out of Robert Willie. And of course, if you've seen the movie Dead Man Walking with Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn played the loosely based character of Robert Lee Willie.
The real Robert Lee Willie killed a whole lot more people, and
some you may not even know about until we tell you, and Sharp involvement in it and all that. So so check that out.
Of color for commentary.
It'll drop this Thursday. The name of the episode is Duck. So check it out. Any final thoughts, Mike?
You got me started on all these things that happened on October 2nd. I remember this. You guys are probably too young for this, but there was a plane crash of the Wichita State, I think it was their football team, and 30-something people were killed.
I think I saw a documentary about that.
Some people lived. It happened in Colorado on this date in 1971, I think it was. 1970. 31 people, 14 players, 14 staff, administrators and boosters, the pilots and 2 flight attendants. What a horrible way to go.
We're never going to run out of content. That's for sure.
Right.
Crime always happens, or crime or
sadly
tragedies always happen. Right.
But it was Gandhi's birthday on the positive
That's
side.
true.
So that
Mahatma Gandhi.
things out.
I still don't know what that dude did for the world.
Do you remember back in 1982 when Bo Ryan's plane went down?
I do.
And they ended up having Jerry Stovall be the coach. They still don't know why it went down. I believe
they said it was the slow loss of oxygen. What they believe, slow loss of oxygen in the cabin, and everybody just fell asleep
and ran out of gas. And
kind of like what Alabama's trying to do on that death penalty thing.
Yeah,
might not be a bad way to go. I mean, if you already
it made me think of that when Mike brought up the plane crash.
Yeah,
of the team. It made me think about that.
Right.
I have no idea why, but anyway, until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino.
For Real Life, Real Crime Daily, peace.
Aglets.
You may not realize it, but every minute of every day, you're enjoying your First Amendment freedoms. You can wear what you want, give out your opinion for free, even if it's unpopular. Listen to your playlist. You can put a sign out on your front lawn that says, "Vote for Bigfoot, someone you can believe in." Pray to the God of your choice. or don't. You have the right to hang with a posse that thinks like you do. Tell the government what you think about its policies. They're the freedoms that let you be you, and they're all brought to you by the First Amendment. Learn more at freedomforum.org.